TVC News at 10. The federal government of Nigeria has dismissed allegations made in a viral video by the military leader of Niger Republic, General Abdurrahmane Chiani, claiming non-existent collusion between Nigeria and France to destabilize his country. In a statement by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, he said these claims exist solely in the realm of imagination, as Nigeria has never engaged in any overt or covert alliance with France or any other country to sponsor terrorist attacks or destabilize the Niger Republic in the wake of the undemocratic change in the leadership of that country. The minister says President Bola Tinubu, as chairman of ECOWAS, has demonstrated exemplary leadership, keeping the doors of the sub-regional body open to re-engage Niger Republic despite the political situation in the country. He said Nigeria remains committed to fostering peace, harmony, and historic diplomatic ties with Niger. Ms. Idris also said Nigeria's armed forces, in collaboration with partners in the multinational Joint Task Force, are succeeding in curbing terrorism within the region. He said President Chiani's allegations are not only unfounded, but a dangerous attempt to divert attention from his administration's shortcomings. A regional advocacy lead, West Africa Democracy Solidarity Network, Omowi Aigbe, joins me on the news at 10 for more updates. Good to have you join us, Mr. Aigbe. These allegations coming from Niger Republic, how weighty are they, and should they even be coming at all?
Yeah, they are weighty because you won't blame the Niger Republic commentaries and accusations. Everyone who saw what happened in France when President Tinubu visited during the state visit in France was so clear and very elaborate in the way and manner the French country welcomed Mr. President to their country, and with that great honor. That will necessarily put a threat on the table of those who think that a tie between President Tinubu and President Emmanuel Macron who have effect in Niger Republic. Not just Niger Republic, across the Sahelian state, that's Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. What is clear is that everyone knows, which is not really a covert thing, as the Minister of Information said. It is not covert, it's really open, that President Tinubu does have a very strong tie with President Macron and, of course, France. When Mr. President took over power in 2023, the first place he visited was France. I mean, that was on a personal note, until recently, earlier last month or thereabout, where there was a former state visit. There have been previous visits. If you also recall, one of the accusations that France had during the time ECOWAS wanted to lay like some kind of military intervention in Niger, it was also attributed that Nigeria's strong tie with France is the reason for all of those. And you don't have to blame Niger. It is just a tie between Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and France, of course, France President Emmanuel Macron.
Well, Mr. Aigbe, talking about these ties, Nigeria is an Anglophone country, and of course we know France is a Francophone. So where does this tie come in?
This is international relation and all of that. So it's like asking that when President Muhammadu Buhari was in power, all of the support that President Muhammadu Buhari gave to Niger, including the SUV vehicle that he gifted to that country during President Bazoum. So one was to ask, why are you giving Niger such gifts, even though people argue that Niger does have a historical tie with Nigeria. But historical tie does not amount to the amount of money you spend on your neighboring country. That tie is really historic. I mean, it's more of diplomacy. Any country that wants to have ties with you and is ready to play along with your international politics or foreign policy, you want to go along with that country. For instance, what's the tie between Niger Republic and Russia? What's the tie between Niger and China? I mean, it's all international politics. What's the tie between Nigeria and Niger? What's the tie between Nigeria and other non-Anglophone countries? It's any country you feel can come into, can support your country in terms of economy, political, and otherwise, you want to build ties. But I think the relationship between Nigeria and France back to the time when the current president of France used to live in Lagos and used to visit Fela's shrine, and he made that comment very, very pronouncedly that he is more like a Niger boy. I mean, so he's more like a Nigerian because he lived in Nigeria for a while, visited Fela's shrine for a number of periods, and it's tied to, and apparently, seeing President Tinubu coming on board, they may have had a historical relationship, which we don't know officially, but I think that what is important, any country that aligns with your foreign policy, it is easy to align with that country's policy.
All right, and the federal government has stated emphatically that these allegations coming from Niger Republic are baseless and that Nigeria remains committed to fostering regional stability. So how do we now drive home the point such that Nigeria's relations with France are not being misconstrued by these countries as Nigeria, standing in the wheel of their progress?
I also don't think that Nigeria needs to respond to all of those allegations if Nigeria is truly free. What Niger Republic may be doing may be what they call the mind game. Understanding that the recent visit to President Macron will send the wrong signal to them. So what they are trying to do now is to try to engage in some form of information disorder in terms of disinformation, to try to push Nigeria to the corner that we understand what you want to do. In case Nigeria truly want to do it, Nigeria may want to stop pedal. But if Nigeria is not truly intending to do it, there's no need defending. You have already made those commentary very loud and clear when the first allegations came from the foreign minister of Niger until the recent head of state commentary. You don't need to make commentary. I mean, you already stated that Nigeria is not going to do it. Nigeria is not giving France any base, any military base. I think it's able to fact check it to say, well, as of this moment, France does not have a military base in Nigeria. The military base that was in Agadez in Niger is not in Nigeria. Make that clear so that you can fact check or dismantle what this foreign information manipulation and all of it disorder, rather than always responding to every commentaries from Niger.
I hear you, Mr. Ibe. I hear you. And do you consider that a threat to regional integration in Africa?
What is regional integration? The Sahelian state has confirmed that they are leaving. ECOWAS, it's because Nigeria is head of ECOWAS. Otherwise, there is no mutual relationship. The ideal thing that has happened is because President Tinubu is chair of ECOWAS and is the same fellow who visited France recently. Otherwise, regional integration that Nigeria continue to put its hard-earned resources, including in Liberia, in Syria alone, in fact, far away in South Africa, Nigeria continue to lead the African continent of coexistence, of oneness, and of an African unity. But to see a military regime who is afraid of Nigeria, and I repeat, afraid of Nigeria, because they know what Nigeria could do. That's why they are playing the mind game. And I don't think Nigeria needs to respond to every bit of information from the Nigerian government.
It's a good way to leave the conversation. Regional Advocacy Lead, West Africa Democracy Solidarity Network, Omowoye Igbe. Thank you so much for your time on TVC News at 10.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas. It's still on.